Welcome back, everyone. It's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope everyone is doing well. Today's video, I'm not showing off any cards. Just wanted to talk about a couple things that have come up, some discussion topics, some thoughts I have on a couple different things. And the first one I wanted to talk about is the National that's coming up, maybe. If you should be aware that the National has put out some periodic updates on the status of the National. Earlier this month in April, they had an announcement, and the announcement read as follows. We've been hearing some rumors about the upcoming Chicago National, so we want to put your minds at ease. We are continuing to plan for the event scheduled for July 28th through August 1st at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center and maintaining contact with the proper state and local authorities. If we need to make any changes to the event, they will be announced here and on our social media sites. Tickets are currently on sale for the 41st National. And they made a couple points here that they're not moving it to Texas or Florida. They're not planning on requiring proof of vaccination. Announcing autograph guests as they're confirmed. We will adhere to the guidelines provided by the state of Illinois and the city of Rosemont. And then this is the first time I've seen where they hint if the event is postponed or rescheduled, and they talk about the refund of tickets or so on. So that was early April sometime. Then a couple days ago, they had this announcement that they released. The National continues to get questions and hear rumors about the upcoming 41st National scheduled for July 28th through August 1st, 2001 at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Chicago. We are at the mercy of the Illinois Department of Public Health, IDPH, which has published metrics describing when large conventions may be held in the state. This is the first time they actually got a little bit more into detail about the Illinois Department of Public Health. We know that attendees and exhibitors are waiting to make arrangements for travel and hotels for the National. Based upon this, we will continue to follow the IDPH guidelines and make a decision on the July dates on or around June 1st of 2021. Should the National be postponed, we are currently looking at October dates as a backup. All right. After that first message in early April, I got a sense of positivity that they were saying, yep, hey, we're still planning, looking to plan this, to have it in July. We're going to follow all the guidelines. Here's some information they did throw out there that little, well, if it should happen to be postponed or rescheduled or things like that. So I was very optimistic. I thought, hey, you know what? I think this is going to happen in July. And then a couple days ago, with their latest announcement, it's just like they left all the air out of the balloon to me. The fact that, again, they started getting into more detail about, hey, with the large conventions and the local rules, and then they even got a little bit more specific about, well, we're also potentially looking at October if we need to. Now that's starting to get a little bit more specific. The earlier message in April was, hey, don't worry if there is a need to postpone it. Don't worry about if you bought tickets, and we'll do things and make it right and whatever. Now they've actually specified a month, that if it gets postponed, they're looking at October. So at first, I was like, yeah, there's probably only a 30% chance that it's going to be happening in July. The more I think about it, June 1st, when they said around June 1st, when they're going to make their decision, that's just 6 weeks away. I don't see things happening, even though more and more people are getting vaccines and, general cases are going down, although there's spikes here and there across the country. Still, June 1st is only 6 weeks away, roughly. I don't see anything changing in terms of the city of Rosemont, the state of Illinois, in terms of their guidelines on um, convention events, indoor convention events, and capacity and all that stuff. I just don't see something changing in 6 weeks. And as I understand it right now, if the convention were to be held today, they couldn't hold it. So I'm now of the opinion that there's probably 0% chance that it's going to be in July. I'm anticipating they're looking at some date in October, and come June 1st or maybe even earlier, they're going to announce a postponement. I'm not super crushed about it. I'm okay with the delay, I guess. I mean, it's not like July or bust. I could probably still make October. I can still be flexible if I am completely wrong and they do hold it in July. I wasn't planning on staying right near the convention center. I was looking at something maybe 45 minutes away near a friend of mine. So chances are I could find something even on a month's notice. So, and I'm going to be driving out, so I don't have to worry about a plane flight. I can get a hotel room. I'm not worried about if it's in July and I haven't made any plans today for it. So I know some of you others that, need to plan for vacation, have already maybe done your airfare and hotels and would have to cancel and reschedule and all that stuff. For me, if it's in October, it just gives me more time to save up a little bit more money to spend at the National. So that's my thought on the National. Let me know what you think. Do you think with the latest announcement by the show owners there, do you think it's going to be in July? Or do you think it's going to be in October? Or are you super pessimistic and think it's not even going to be held this year? I hope that's not the case. Like I said, I'll take October. It won't be too bad of a drive from Pennsylvania out to Illinois in October. We're not talking about the dead of winter here. But if it's October and there's still a National, I'd be okay with it. So let me know your thoughts. The second thing I wanted to talk about is a bit of a confession. I follow my YouTube analytics, how many views I get and what my subscriber count is and things like that. That's not why I do these videos. I mean, I have a blast showing off cards, talking about the hobby, doing contest response videos, the whole thing. That's what I'm here for, okay? But at the same time, I like to know how well or bad a particular video is, whether you like the content or not, because that gives me feedback as to, oh, hey, this was a pretty particular topic, or they really liked seeing these cards, or something that I had to say, and maybe I will have a future topic around that same thing. And because I do this for my enjoyment, but I also do it for you. And I want to put out videos that you enjoy watching. So again, I follow, how many views, really just views my videos get. And I have been noticing over the last probably maybe around 2 weeks that my videos are getting a little bit less views. I mean, nothing dramatic, but I notice a change. And I'm wondering, I have a theory about it, that was around the time that the baseball season started. So another question to you watching this video is, has the start of the baseball season impacted your YouTube viewing, which I think it might? And on the flip side, for you content creators, is it reducing the amount of videos that you create from watching baseball on TV or other sports? And of course, most of the country is experiencing warmer weather. We're finally getting out of winter. I cut the grass this weekend for the first time. You have things going on outside. You want to enjoy the outdoors. So I get it. The reason why I'm asking This is, even though I've been on for just a little over a year, I'm still relatively new to making content on YouTube. And I noticed back around July of last year, which coincided with the delayed start of the baseball season, that some of my view count started to go down a little bit. And then eventually it picked up a little bit. And again, I'm just curious whether you think it's because of the start of the baseball season or whether there's other factors going on. So it's not just views I notice on my channel, but again, I notice it with a lot of the channels that I follow. Some of you are pretty good at putting out constant videos, um, but I have noticed some of the others that I followed seems to your content seems to have been slowing down. How many times you're posting a video, and just didn't know whether there was any rhyme or reason, whether it's just haphazard or whether there was something to the start of the baseball season. So again, if you have some thoughts, throw them my way in the comments. I do have to laugh about one thing, and I am laughing about it. I'm not taking it seriously. Again, looking at the metrics of my videos and the comments and likes, I believe I may have upset someone, or I'm assuming it's the same person. It could not be. I don't know. I don't know who. You can't tell who likes or dislikes a video, but 4 of my last 6 videos, I'd rarely get a dislike on my videos. There were a couple that maybe a bit controversial or whatever. My nomination for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, I knew that was going to get some. I think everyone got dislikes on those videos. And there may be a couple others that I've done, but just all of a sudden, 4 out of my last 6 videos, someone has disliked it. Again, just, hey, it's you're free. If you don't like something that I say, heck, go ahead, dislike it. I don't care. I just find it interesting. I'm not a controversial type of content creator. I rarely give just thoughts or my opinions or go after people or whatever. I just enjoy making videos. So anyway, I just thought that was funny that there apparently is someone out there. I don't even know if they are still a subscriber of mine or not. That I guess doesn't like my content. So anyway, again, I find it funny. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing. I'm having a blast. So I just thought that was interesting. So the last thing that I want to talk about is I've been on my sort of secondary collecting focus for about a year now. Obviously, Wade Boggs is still and will always be my main collecting focus, but for about a year now, I've been collecting PSA vintage cards. And I started off saying, okay, I want to collect Hall of Famers. And I've expanded it a little bit to a couple players I believe should be in the Hall of Fame: Pete Rose, Dwight Evans. Those are, I think, really the only two. And so I started off looking at years and trying to get all the Hall of Famers for a particular year. So I started off with 78 because that's my set. And I think 5 cards away. And then I did some trying to get out of some 79s, and I'm well on my way to completing the 79 run. And I said, okay, I wasn't seeing many cards show up that I needed and this and that. So I said, okay, I want to expand what I'm looking for. So I started dabbling in, looking at some 1980s because that was the cap that I put on for vintage 1980. And I picked up some 1980 cards. Then I started going back a little bit further, picked up a couple 77s, some 76s, recently some 75s. But I've noticed that, and this is rare for me, I'm having a hard time pulling the trigger on some vintage cards. And it's not because of, the crazy prices that are out there. Everything's so expensive and auctions are going for way high, and none of that. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about seeing a card that even putting in a bid on I look at the card and I say, "Oh yeah, that's a cool card, Hall of Famer," and then I pause and I'm like, "Well, no, I'll pass on that one." I don't feel the need. Oh, I want that one. I've done it on a couple occasions. That 1980 Henderson rookie. Of course, I was collecting the 80s at the time, and that was one I needed. Recently picked up that 64 Topps Pete Rose. Now that one caught my eye, and I'm like, that was one that I wanted to get for my collection. But beyond that, I've been saving up some money to spend on vintage cards. It's not like, hey, I'm poor, I have a limited budget, I can't spend much. I have some money to spend, but I'm having a hard time pulling the trigger on a card. And it's odd for me to do that. As you can see, I don't have any problem spending money on my collection. If I have it to spend, I usually find a way to spend it. Okay. But I'm in a bit of a rut with my vintage collection. And I don't know why. They're all Hall of Famers. They're all cool cards. They're cards that eventually I'll say, yeah, I'd like to have that in my collection. But I can't even forget about winning an auction. All right. Or there have been some cases for buy it nows and I get an offer. Seller, I follow a buy it now and I get an offer from a seller. I'm like, it's a decent price. I may be on the high side of what they're going for, but I'd be comfortable with it. And I let it go. And I don't know if I'm looking for that one big card to buy, spend, $300-400 on one amazing card, or whether I want to spread the money out. Maybe that's part of my problem. Do I want quality or quantity? I tend to lean toward quantity, as you can tell. The more the merrier. But I don't know, and I'm wondering if it's just a case of needing to refocus yet again. And I think all of us within our collections, we need to take a pause and say, okay, am I going down the right path here? Is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to collect? And take a moment to reflect and say, okay, what do I really want to focus on? So I'm not backing out. I'm not getting out of vintage. I'm not saying I'm done with it at all. I want to buy vintage cards. I love vintage cards. So I don't know if it's maybe, now that I'm near 78, the 1978 set, obviously focus on those last 5. Maybe work on completing the 79 and 80 and just maybe focus maybe those 3 years as opposed to a specific player, because I've been finding myself, okay, I'm just going to pick a random Johnny Bench. Okay. All right, I have a 1980, a 79, a 78. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try to work on a mini Johnny Bench run. So I'm looking at Johnny Bench. Well, what about this other player? And what about that other player? So with there's just so many great vintage cards out there. And I think that's another problem is, yes, I don't have it. If I could, I like that one. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Now I don't have that much money saved up, but I have decent amount of money for me to go out and buy some cards. So let me know what you think. I'm not looking for advice of who should I collect, because that's personal and individual. You may say, John, you need to start collecting so and so. And I'd be like, well, hey, that's a great player, but I may not have that much of an interest in it. So I'm not looking for advice on what cards to buy. I guess maybe because I'm sure you've gone down this path of having to refocus. And I think, again, I may take a step back and just focus on a couple sets. Like I said, finishing that 78. Maybe finishing the 79. There are a couple 79s. I have the Ozzie Smith, but there are a couple other 79s that are tough to find in fairly decent condition. And I may have to look at a lower grade, and that's fine. Maybe knock off the 79, so complete the 78, 79. I really like the 76s, so maybe go after some 76s and just have that narrow focus and say if it's not a 76, 78, or 79 card, not interested. And if I see one in those years that I want to go after, then I go after. So I may be doing something like that. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see, and I'll let you know what I decide. But again, any feedback that you could give me would be greatly appreciated. Looks like I'm going on about 20 minutes here on various different topics. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you stuck around. If you stuck around this long, obviously you weren't one of the ones who gave me a dislike on my last video. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys. As always, really, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.